you get the gun. And that's out of control. You know, they always expand the gun laws. So, A, they already are running the check. So, why is the ATF doing this? Well, this is the nature of tyranny. If Obama could shut down power plants without congressional approval, he's a dictator. If he can launch wars without congressional approval, he's a dictator. If he can raise debt ceiling, which he's talking about doing, he's a dictator. And it's not that he's even a dictator. It's the system wants all the power centered in one place. So, and these points aren't even in you know, A through Z aren't even the most important in order. So they're doing this where they're basically turning you into a confidential informant. And this is what the ATF did in Arizona and other states. They would come in and they would say, you're going to sell guns to these guys that are coming in. They're going to take them to Mexico. And they're like, I don't want to do that. And they say, we're the ATF, do what you're told. So they could ship the guns into Mexico and now come out with this program to harass people that are buying guns, to go after people that are going, you know, to get guns. So let me just calmly go through the points here right now. Okay, A, there isn't a law, and the government's doing this outside of law. Okay, and did it by word of mouth. Now we've got the letter they issued July 12th to gun shops from Texas to California. Okay, the entire Southwest. Okay, so there's that issue, that this was all done outside of law, and that if they can set the precedent to come in and order you to do things and command you in the letter with no law, the sky's the limit. They've set the precedent that they're dictatorial. It's called authoritarian, dictatorial. That's what dictatorship is. Secondarily, as I said, they already know that you don't have a criminal background and that you bought these guns. That's the FBI instant check. It's self-unconstitutional, but see, it's always more. So they know that. And there's also the fact that they're telling people by word of mouth, don't talk about this. So it's this behind-the-scenes secret agent type deal. And then here's the biggest one. Then they want to chill the Second Amendment. They then send ATF and FBI or both, and I've confirmed this from gun dealers and people in my office, to your house when you've bought 2 rifles and imply that you're a terrorist and evil and put you on a list as part of intimidation. And then, of course, the biggest issue, remember, it's the government that shipped the guns into Mexico to track them back here to then do this program outside of law. And remember, Obama said earlier in the year he's going to do gun control, quote, by stealth, victim disarmament by stealth, and that they were going to use regulations outside of law. Use EPA regulations to shut down power plants, same thing. And so this is a total dictatorial, criminal power grab, intimidating people that are buying guns, intimidating the gun shops outside of law, when it's the government that criminally shipped the guns into Mexico to then cause a crisis and blame the Second Amendment inside the United States. Remember, Mexico has a total gun ban, and they've got one of the highest crime rates in the world. So this has all been calculated very, very carefully. All right, we got a big guest coming up after the break. Stay with us. Okay, I remember decades ago listening to this song, and we'll play the part later where it talks, you know, it's got quotes of George Herbert Walker Bush talking about right and wrong, you know, good and evil, New World Order. And Al Jourgensen, the founder of Ministry, is our guest and influenced, you know, so much of the modern music that's out there. I think also appreciate their album they put out a few years ago, dealing with 9/11 being an inside job. And we'll play some of that music coming up today. Al Jourgensen from his compound in El Paso, Texas. He is the founder and frontman of the Grammy-nominated industrial metal band Ministry. He's also known as Al Jourgensen, Hypo Lux, Dog Alien Dog Star, and Buck Satan. In Al's 30-plus music career, he has created such bands as, and it just goes on through them, and he joins us. And one of the last albums he put out was a Rio Grande Blood, I thought was excellent. And we'll talk more about that with him here on the broadcast today. They're on Facebook at facebook.com/ministry and 13 planetrecords.com and a lot more. And I wanted to get him on because obviously I saw that album dealing with 9/11 truth, and we was wondering how 20 years ago or more now, was he talking about the New World Order and global government and all of these issues, and get a view on really his political ideas and what Ministry has really stood for. Al, good to have you here on the show with us.
What's up, Alex?
We're just broadcasting worldwide. There's so much to talk about, but you said out of the gates that you have a bone to pick with me. So let's just get it out here on the table right now, because you're rock and roll, man. Rock and roll. Slap Jones around some. I'm going to slap you around, too. Go ahead.
Well, I'm sure you will. But I've been listening all morning, and been listening to this gold shilling, which is very Glenn Beckish, I think, because okay, is a 12 apocalypse, whether it's the magnetic shift or the solar flare or an asteroid that the government isn't telling us that's coming because they don't want chaos. You really think gold is going to get you through those days? Okay, so obviously the banking system is done, okay, after an apocalyptic, hell. You think that by buying supplies in gold, that you're not going to be targeted for having gold and having rampaging marauders ransacking your house, which is it's going to fall into anarchy, is going to keep you safe? Really? I think this is just another scam of just like making money for certain people, a certain few, the gold traders, on like, oh, you have that as a safety net. What's the safety net after a post-apocalyptic future? What is the safety net? I would say by batteries, water, and bread, and maybe a few guns, okay? That's your safety net.
Maybe a few guns.
Yeah, like a few hundred guns, which you've been dealing on this morning with the new ATF rule, which, okay, so just go extra time and buy 400 rounds and 2 guns twice a week. I mean, really, if you want to be prepared for that, gold and silver is not the answer. Who's going to take gold on precious resources when resources are so scarce and there is no banking system? Gold and silver are a farce. This is another conspiracy to get people to spend money to make a select few a lot of money.
All right, let me counter that. I mean, I think that's fair. Let me respond to that, Al. All I know is I was a silver and gold purchaser before I ever had sponsors, and I have a sponsor who I know has really great deals, and that's where I buy my gold and silver. I bought silver, and a lot of what I bought was at $5, $6 an ounce. Now it's above 40. I bought gold. A lot of what I have at 300, 400, 500. It's at 1,600. They're killing the dollar. And hold on. Let me just counter you. That's like saying I shouldn't have kids because somebody might hurt them or they might die in a car wreck. To say that marauders might come take my guns. Listen, I'm not turning my gold into the government. I'm not turning anything to marauders. I'm going to kill them. I'm going to kill marauders.
Listen, gold's going to be worthless and dollar's going to be worthless. What's going to be worthwhile is survival techniques if you want to live in that world. Me, I got my Glock 9, and I'm going to wait till my food runs out after 2012, and then I'm going to put a Glock 9 or a Beretta to the roof of my mouth and have a big party and go out in a peaceful way, all right?
So you really think it's the end of the world? I don't think it is.
Well, I really do, and I'm not one of these, like, it's really funny. I have a 2012 tattoo, and I got it like 3 days before this initial crisis of some sect saying, like, the world was going to end, a few months ago. And I'm going, if the earth starts rumbling, I'm going to go, the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to the tattoo shop and getting a rebate on my 2012 tattoos.
All right. Well, Al, now it makes sense. If you really think that it's the end of the world, then yes, you should.
Well, I hate to quote REM, but it's the end of the world as we know it.
Okay.
And there's no doubt about that.
Okay, well, listen, we disagree on that. And, Al, I want to talk about it, but that's a pretty bold accusation earlier. So, I do need to counter it here. So, you're here, you said it, and then I want to hear you roll because you're here, and I want to hear your ideas. You're a very interesting person, and I admire your music and your art. But now I understand. Absolutely. If you think the world's ending in the next year and a half or less.
No. I don't think the world's ending. I think the world is going to change dramatically.
Well, there's no point in getting gold and silver if you think the world's going to end. But it's been a great investment, and I believe in it, and I do have survival people on.
Okay, well, listen, my monitor man has a lot of money tied in gold. You know what he just did with it? As of yesterday, he sold it all. And you know what he bought? Bread, batteries, batteries, and water.
That's a lot of bread, batteries, and water.
Yeah. A lot of bread, batteries, and water because he wants to survive in that climate.
What about that gold tooth, Al? You got a gold tooth. That's a scam.
I got a gold tooth. Well, maybe somebody can yank it off me after, like, the marauding bands of, like, rampagers and anarchists just trying to survive.
Yeah.
Will overrun the compound with food and water and gold and take your stuff. I mean, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
El Paso
okay?
is pretty apocalyptic looking. Why do you live in El Paso? Does it suit your Diablo essence?
Well, El Paso's an interesting city. It's always been an outlaw city. When the Spanish conquistadors came here, and I mean, we have churches here like from like 1590 and things like this of people passing through to California. That's what they call it, El Paso. It's the pass between the mountains before you go west. And it's always been an outlaw town. It's got the world's largest, like, Harley distributorship here. So it's pretty much bikers and outlaws, and I seem to fit in here for whatever reason, and I like it here. I've been here 9 years. I've got it tattooed on my neck, the name of the city, and I plan on staying. So, there's where we're at.
Now, it does look like something out of Road Warrior in El Paso when you drive in and all those ancient-looking hills and all the radio towers and, like, wreckage and junk all over the sides of the road and then the city and the people. It is beautiful in an ugly way. El Paso is a very interesting town. Now I want to get away from this in a moment, but I want to go back to something, Al. I know we're going to be here after 2012. We're going to defeat the New World Order. We're going to defeat their designed implosion of the world economy. And we're not going to...
the only way we're going to defeat the New World Order is for the people to finally get so fed up by the Republicans destroying the middle class to where people have no money. Here's what cracks me up about the Republicans. It's such short-term sightedness. Okay, let's put the piggyback on to, like, the middle class. So the middle class has nothing, and the CEOs make everything, okay? Although, in a few years, who's going to buy their product? Well, they're making record profit bonuses every year, okay? And at the end of that, who's going to buy their product if no one has money? So therefore, they're thinking short-term cash grab gain, and they're not thinking long-term of how to sustain an economy. They're thinking short-term cash grab, which is what's happening
it's cannibalistic.
in the industry. What?
It's a cannibalistic economy.
No, it's a short-sighted economy.
Yeah.
These freshmen in the Republican Congress have been reading way too much Ayn Rand, all right? It's like, if I don't get my way, I'm going to blow up the building. And that's what they're doing, okay? That's what they're doing. You may hate Obama. You may think he's a scumbag and all that. You know what? He's dealing with the realities of Washington. And no, it's not easy for anybody. It was easy for W because of his bloodline and this and that, and people, like, fell into line, just like, Goose Step. But with Obama, a black president, oh, my God, no, we can't have this. So, we'd rather blow up the building, as Ayn Rand said, than pursue with policies that might actually do good. I mean, I'm thinking, if we had a Democratic Congress and a Democratic president, and I mean Congress and Senate, we would have infrastructure right now. We would have the things that would make this country grow and leave things for our future. As of right now, the short-sighted terms of the CEOs, which is the Republican overlords, just want immediate cash, and they'll build their bunkers. Here's a decent point. Okay, Bush is so cozy. Bush was so cozy with the Saudis and all this stuff. Yet, him and the CIA director, Woolsey, under the Clinton administration, both have solar-powered houses. Now, why is it good enough for them but not good enough for us?
Well, again, we're talking to the founder of Ministry. Al, look, I totally agree that the Republican leadership are bad, but Obama
they're not
is
bad. They're just misinformed, and they're talking to their overlords.
Well, they're running everything.